Well, I've just got a confession to make. I am so excited about this lecture. I've been working for about 3 decades now, for about 30 years. And through that journey, particularly in the first couple of decades when I was in investment banking, I always knew there was something slightly missing. I loved my work, and I was flying around the world, and I was meeting fascinating people, but I always knew that there was something missing. And then 5 years ago, I met Sir Anthony Seldon, and he started articulating the idea of human flourishing and values and how you can teach this to the youth and how you can make it part of your life. And he talks about community and family, and this suddenly, for me anyway, was a bit of a turning point. And so personally for me, I am delighted he is here tonight. I'm just thrilled. Now, for those of you who don't know the Institute, Legatum Institute is an international think tank. We focus on promoting prosperity. Now, we do this through a number of different programs, but our core theme is about revitalizing capitalism and democracy. We care very much about prosperity beyond just wealth. We talk about well-being. Do have a look at our index, our Prosperity Index. That's our flagship product, and we're very proud of it. And you are all exceedingly welcome here at the Institute. You're very welcome to get involved, enjoy our programs, come to our events. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Sir Anthony Seldon. He is a renowned headmaster, author of 40 books, very well known throughout the world. And please, in a warmest welcome to our guest speaker.
And through history, it's that lens that's most important in understanding our culture and values, and so that we understand policymaking today. And we hold the history of capitalism, a whole lecture series that's lasting for over 3 years. And it's our biggest events at the Institute. People are hungry to understand what's happened in the past so we can appreciate what the solutions are in the future. And there is a vacuum. There's no question about it in policymaking today.
And we want to spread prosperity through free market solutions and through stable democracy. Tim Montgomery, sitting over there, Tim Montgomery is working on a vision for capitalism for our institute, which will deliver the next government, whoever that may be, an agenda to restore faith in the free market system. We at Legatum congratulate this government for working to put its public finances back on track, but also for the efforts of Ian Duncan Smith for getting people into work. And this coalition has also succeeded in making the UK one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world. The Legatum 2014 Prosperity Index shows that we're 8th in the world. That's a remarkable achievement. And it's thanks to the reforms in education that our guest speaker, Michael Gove, enacted, that children from all walks of life now have the best possible chance to fulfill their academic potential. And now I'd like to hand you over to Tim Montgomery. I'm delighted to be welcoming Congressman Holding here, who's the representative for North Carolina. And just a few words about your journey to Congress. I understand that you've been in Congress for 2 years now, but that you were a US attorney before that. And how did you come to politics?
Yeah, well, I'm in the middle of my second term in Congress now, and the U.S. attorney position, there are 94 U.S. attorneys around the United States. You're appointed by the president, and you serve at his pleasure. You handle all the litigation, criminal and civil litigation.
As part of the drivers of the aspirational reinvention, what would you say the main drivers are? Because here at Legatum, we're most interested in looking at prosperity in its widest sense. Is that something you also look at when you're looking at the aspirational levers and drivers?
Oh, absolutely. A society that's not aspirational, I think, has lost its way. Mm. And in the United States, I think the inhibitors to having an aspirational society, we have too much government bureaucracy. The government stands in the way of prosperity in every which way you turn.
The Institute defines prosperity as a combination of factors. It's not just how well off you feel, but it's also how satisfied you are with your life. I'd like to take this opportunity particularly to congratulate one of the advisors on our index. As you probably heard, Professor Angus Deaton of Princeton University was just announced as a Nobel Prize winner for economics. And he is a great friend of the Institute and will continue to advise us on the index. Now, there's one thing you should know about this year's index, and that is the UK economy since 2009 has shown a remarkable turnaround. And much of that credit has to go to our guest speaker tonight, Ian Duncan-Smith. As Minister for Work and Pensions, he's had to make some very brave and difficult decisions about how to fix our economy and promote welfare reform. And the strategy has worked. Now, before the Minister speaks, I'd like to introduce you to the Programme Director for the Prosperity Index, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the findings of the 2015 index. Over to Nathan Gamester. We are an international think tank, an educational charity focused on promoting prosperity. And I'm Sian Hansen, the Executive Director here, and thank you so much for coming out this morning. It has been our privilege to work with Tim Montgomery for this past year. His project for the Legatum Institute was typically ambitious, a 40,000-word reflection on the nature and health of capitalism. It's a Herculean task, which he accomplished superbly. Tim believes that the free market offers the best hope for the advance of social justice, but he understands that reform is needed. His vision matches the Institute's vision. We know that capitalism is the best route to prosperity, and that is defined by our house as wealth and well-being. But we also admit that there's criticisms that have to be leveled against capitalism. And who better to discuss those arguments than the brilliant Tim Montgomery?
Well, thank you very much, Anne, for that introduction. And can I thank you, seeing this is my last moment on a Legatum stage for a little while, and all of the Legatum team, including Christina, for the freedom that you have given me to think about this project. I've been able to think creatively about capitalism with no limits put upon me by you, and I hope you're pleased with the outcome, but there's not many think tanks that would just bring someone in and just give them time away from a newspaper column to think about such a big subject as you've done, and I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Boris Johnson, Mayor of London since 2008, is so famous that he's known from Westminster to Washington by his first name, just Boris. The man who brought us the most successful Olympic Games in history, the Boris bikes, we all know. He got rid of those bendy buses. He's a fine plasticist, and may I say, a peerless ping pong player. His popularity, and may I say, maybe even cult status, means that with Boris on board, even the most audacious vision can be realized. And let us be clear, Tim Montgomery's vision of capitalism is exactly that. The Legatum Institute is absolutely thrilled that Tim Montgomery, the Times columnist and the founder of Conservative Home, is working for us to deliver an agenda for the next government to restore faith in the free markets.